just discovered what it takes to become a legend. Grab your eye. Let's mobilize.
Hello and welcome. I am your handsome King Nerdy Bear, and it's been a while since I've done some reactions, so since Cyberpunk is of interest to me these past several weeks, let's go ahead and watch this video from Sam Brand, 25 Cyberpunk Tips You Should Know Before Playing Phantom Liberty. Let's go ahead and watch this together.
2.5 years of waiting, CDPR have gradually been turning Cyberpunk's smoking dumpster fire of a reputation back around into something that's overall pretty positive. And a little later this year, Phantom Liberty is poised to test the waters once again of one of the most loved and hated games of the past few years. Hi, I'm Sam Brand, and I've produced a fair amount of Cyberpunk content on this channel. Everything from comparing all the game's weapons and vehicles to exploring the hidden secrets and details of many of the quests. In this video, I'm taking everything I've learned throughout that process and condensing it down to the 25 most important tips you should know before embarking on your Phantom Liberty adventure. So, without further ado, let's get to it.
1.
Starting right back at the beginning of the game, life paths matter more than you think. When starting any new playthrough, you'll be asked to choose the backstory of your character out of Street Kid, Nomad, and Corpo. Each will provide a unique prologue, most notably, but after that it can appear as though life paths have little more implication on the story. This isn't entirely true though. Yes, whilst life paths ultimately won't have any major effects on the outcomes of main quests, there's still plenty of side missions and gigs, which include dialogue options unique to specific life paths. These can give you extra pieces of story info, as well as unique quest outcomes. Also, each life path comes with its own unique mission, with Corpos unlocking a really good unique pistol, and Nomads regaining their starter car, which is good, but far from the best. Street Kids, on the other hand, get a knockoff samurai jacket, though I'd argue that's made up for by some of the brilliant exclusive dialogue that they have. So, before you start your next playthrough, consider what kind of character you want to be, and who in Night City you'd like more unique dialogue with. Street Thugs, Aldecaldos, or Corpo Swine. It actually makes more difference than you think.
2.
With such a wide variety of attributes and perks to choose from, it can be extremely tempting to run off and start buying up whichever ones sound the most cool. Now, for perks, this isn't the end of the world, they can be reset, but for attributes, I'd recommend not doing that. There's 100 attribute points to buy up across the board, but by the maximum level of 50, you'll only ever have enough to buy up 71 of them. So, I'd recommend to most people choosing a build which pulls into 3 of the 5 available attributes, and sticking to that. Want to be a stealth ninja with throwing knives? Then go for reflexes, cool and tech. A shotgun berserker tank? Then go for body, cool and tech. A pure netrunner only? Then I'd suggest intelligence, cool and body. If you want to unlock the best perks of any skill tree, then prioritizing some whilst fully ignoring others is the quickest and often only possible way to achieve this. Now granted, they may raise the level cap for Phantom Liberty, and I really hope they do, but that may also include the introduction of this 6th skill tree. And
we can finally use the relic, hopefully.
Not all attributes will be affordable. If you want to get the most out of your playstyle, then I'd highly recommend choosing a general build at the start and sticking to that.
3.
One of the most branching quests occurs right at the beginning of the game, where we're tasked with obtaining a bot from Maelstrom. Now this quest presents a few possible outcomes. Against the invading Militech soldiers, or you can side with Militech, single-handedly face off Maelstrom, and even have a passionate romance scene with Meredith. All in detail in my video on tough decisions. However, what many people don't realise is that there's actually a third option to avoid combat altogether. By accumulating 10,000 eddies before starting this quest and not meeting with Meredith beforehand, you can simply pay for the flathead and walk away without any bloodshed. This choice allows you to unlock the Maelstrom weapon vendor later on, who happens to be the only one that's selling the legendary Satara shotgun. Of course, there are some drawbacks to this outcome, like any other choice. You won't be able to acquire Royce's Chaos pistol here, and you'll miss the opportunity to obtain Sir John Fallistiff from your encounter with Meredith. However, if you're playing a tech tank build and rely on the best available Satara, this may very well be the optimal option for you, ensuring you're fully prepared to tackle the combat zone.
4.
To add to the idea of getting money in Act 1, it can be very tempting to blitz your way through this part of the game and get directly to the heist, unlocking Johnny Silverhand and meeting various other characters more quickly. But
I did that
you'll have a
on my
much
third
easier
character.
time at the start of Act 2 if you actually use Act 1 to explore a bit more, completing some of the side quests and gigs around Watson. There's a huge 23 gigs to complete in this district alone, not to mention side quests and the like. It's the best way to rack up money, street cred, and to get high-level gear, which you'll soon be needing. So, as the Mr. Start adverts say, don't be soft. Head into Act 2 ready to blast through corpo and street-level scum all night, every night.
Love picking fights with those gangs.
Following the tragic ending to the heist, Delamain posits an important question. Where do we send Jackie's body? And having played full runs of both outcomes, I can tell you, without a shadow of a doubt, the best option here is to send Jackie to Mama Wells, or just leave him in the car, you'll get the same results. Doing this will unlock the Hero's side quest, which not only provides Jackie with a solid goodbye, but also introduces us to a ton of characters who will come across more later into the game. Alternatively, sending Jackie to Misty will involve his body being taken by Arasaka, and winding up as a poor excuse of an AI whose linguistic skills are even worse than ChatGPT.
Misty always knows.
She always knew.
Now, the only caveat to this is that in Phantom Liberty, there could be the off chance that Mikoshi Jackie comes up more. I mean, I think it's unlikely, but who knows? Equally, it may very well be the case that some more people from the Offrender have an expanded role in Phantom Liberty, possibly. Either way, if you're playing through a new playthrough, then this option is going to make it a lot easier to process the demise of Jackie Wells than the alternative.
I only did with the second character.
One of the
Third character
easiest
said,
things
fuck
to
it.
fall into the trap of, especially
Back to
early
clinic.
on when it's unclear what's important, is spending money where you don't need to. This is a problem because right off into Act 2, the Ghost Town mission can only be unlocked after you cough up a certain number of eddies. If you're wanting one
Unfortunately.
particular nomad to become a part of your playthrough as quickly as possible, you'll
That
want
is
to have those
nice
eddies ready
ass.
ASAP. So, complete some gigs
A
early
Pan
on, as
Am
I already
ass.
mentioned, but more importantly, save that money. Now, I'm not saying don't make calculated purchases. An upgraded cyberdeck or a new quick hack can be absolute game changers. I'm just saying don't buy something because it sounds cool if it's not an integral part of your build. And also make sure when buying
Yeah, I learned that on my second
items
character.
to keep enough back for Ghost Town.
7.
Speaking of saving eddies, whichever build you're running, there's no doubt an optimum gun or weapon for it laying around which you can pick up absolutely free pretty early in the game. Want a fire-based warrior? Then head to the Northside docks, start the Sacrum Profanum side quest, and pick
yeah,
up
I remember
Fenrir,
that.
a flame-based SMG. Want to fulfill those Edge Runners fantasies? Then head on top of the city centre roundabouts, and Rebecca's Guts shotgun is lying right
Oh, that's
there
where
in
it
the
is?
bushes. Hell,
Oh.
maybe you want a companion gun that talks to you. Skippy can be found down the back of an alley in Vista
Love
del
Skippy.
Rey. There's also a bunch of weapons to grab.
Annoying as hell, but I love
Free.
Skippy.
Head to the roof during the heist for Saburo's personal katana, or into this dressing room upstairs of clouds for Evelyn's pink variants. Equally, once you do the Ghost Town mission, helping Panam to take down Nash will allow us to loot his Achilles variant, Widowmaker, one of my all-time favourite weapons of this game. That's just a few of my favourites, but there are loads more. So, are you wanting to specialise in a specific weapon type? Well, luckily, I've produced ranking videos on every single one, so when you're done here,
Oh,
feel free
groovy.
to go check out any of those. One time-sensitive mission you especially don't want to miss, though, is Scorpion's send-off mission with Mitch called I'll Fly Away. As you
Yeah.
can imagine, dealing
That's
with
kinda
the
sad.
remains of the recently deceased Scorpion isn't going to be available forever, and you'll want to speak to Mitch sometime during Panam's questline before the final quest, Queen of the Highway, becomes available. Not only is this the one way of getting the best knife in the game, Stinger, which has some awesome poison bonuses, but it's also a great opportunity to bond with Mitch, one of the main Aldecaldo characters. A cool detail of the
Aldecaldos.
Panam romance is how we not only have to get close with her, but in a very real way, we have to get to know her
Super
family
real.
too. It may be greedy saying this since they already have their own ending, but hopefully we get a few more interactions with these guys, even if it's just some texts or a side quest or two for Phantom Liberty.
9.
One of the most important questions, especially after Edge Runners, is which operating system to use in your build. Prior to the anime, in fact, I think most people didn't even know we had alternatives to the Cyberdeck. But after the tale of David Martinez hit Netflix, Sandevistan was easily one of the most popular words when it came to Cyberpunk. And a lot of
Oh,
YouTubers,
yeah.
myself included, began to see Sandevistan-based content rise to the top of their highest viewed. I've covered this whole topic in detail in a dedicated video, but to summarise, Cyberdeck offers the most versatile versatility and range, with the entire intelligence attribute tied directly to it, Sandeviston's favour a badass Quicksilver reflexes-based ninja, but only pair well with a select few single-round guns on account of not speeding up the gun's firing rate. Then, Berserk, least popular of the three, favours the more classical tank player. It's tied directly to the body attribute and provides a general limited time boost to attack and protect stats. I'd recommend it mostly for shotgun and LMG-based builds. Now, choosing an operating system isn't set in stone as attributes, though you'll need to hit a certain level with intelligence, reflexes, or body.
Oh, that's what it's called, beast mode?
Speaking of which...
10!
Okay, so this is my personal preference for the best of each operating system, though according to polls, most people are in general agreement with me. So, the two best cyberdecks are either the Netwatch NetDriver Mark V, boasting the best ability for quick hacks to spread to multiple targets, and the Tetratronic Rippler, which uploads hacks to people and devices 4 times faster than anything else. They can be bought from the Wellsprings and Charter Hill Ripperdocs, respectively. As for Sandeviston's, the popular one for its low cooldown capabilities is the TNT Mark IV, available from Fingers on Jig Street, but alternatively for the same 2 second potential at the trade-off of slowing time to 50% not 25, the Dynalar Mark III can be bought from, again, this guy in Wellsprings. You'll only need 12 reflexes as opposed to 16 to equip this one, though this likely isn't the reason you'll be choosing it over the TNT. Finally then, there's Berserk. Now, I must admit, I, and most others to be fair, haven't used this one as much, but after just a few hours of experience with these things, I'd recommend the Zetatech Mark V from the Ripperdoc in Arroyo. Equally, once you complete the game, you'll unlock the Militech Mark V absolutely free, and provided you have the 18 body to equip it, you might just want to give that one a try instead.
11!
Speaking of buying up cyberware though, there's plenty of other slots in this menu aside from simply OS to fill, and buying up the appropriate cyberware for your build should be a financial priority from completing Ghost Town onwards. Sure, collecting cars and bikes is fun, but you can buy perfectly fine indefinitely there simply with the ones you get for free. Same goes for apartments.
Do love Johnny's Porsche 911.
But cyberware, well, that really will make a definitive difference to your gameplay. Playing a Netrunner, frontal cortex upgrades will be your game changer.
Yeah!
Tank, Bioconductor, and Second Heart aren't bad bets. That's not even mentioning how many more areas you can access with cyberlegs, or how you become the weapon with arm implants. With all this brought up and your optimum build reached, gigs are going to run a hell of a lot smoother, and you'll rack up every any you need for all those extra cars in no time.
12!
Given the importance of said cyberware though, it's equally as important then to keep the local Ripperdocs who sell you the stuff happy as well. Don't worry, 12 of the 14 Ripperdocs will remain available no matter what, but 2 of them you'll want to be careful at points. Now, Fingers, I'm sure most of you know this by now, but punch or kill him during automatic love, and he won't sell to you anymore. You'll lose out on the GNT Mark IV, which is rubbish for sandy players, the Epic Fortified Ankles, which is rubbish for long distance.
So punching Fingers is a bad idea.
The Pain Editor, which is rubbish for cool people. So either stay your hand, or if you have the patience, just buy up all this stuff before going to Clouds. The lesser known Ripper then is Charles Bucks, who during the last login gig you'll uncover procuring cheap cyberware through some screwed up body harvesting operation. Now, when confronted, he'll try to bribe us to turn a blind eye, resulting in a potential discount, or if refused, a potential murder scene. Now, he may deserve death for the murders he perpetuates, but that's entirely up to you. He sells the feedback circuit and adrenaline booster, which restore health and stamina during combat. Not the most important things, but potentially nice additions. So either buy them before killing him, or spare his life and buy them afterwards for a very sweet discount at the potential expense of your soul.
13.
Speaking of discounts though,
Wait,
if you're applying the Iron Dagger technique to level up crafting, i.e. bulk buying resources and crafting of items, you'll want to grab up some specific crafting perks as soon as you can.
Yes, I agree.
In the crafting segment of the tech tree, we can not only buy up perks which reduce the component cost of crafting overall, but also provide a certain percentage chance to upgrade or craft items absolutely free. Overall, this is going to save you a ton of materials, and if you're buying resources to speedrun this process, then eddies too. If you're running any weapons-based build, then I would highly recommend investing in this skill to get the best tier weapons, whichever weapon type you choose. In fact, certain legendary iconics like the Storm Wizard Smart SMG Yinglong can only be acquired through crafting in the first place. So yeah, keep an eye on those levels and buy up perks here that improve your crafting before doing a bulk craft.
14.
As I mentioned just a minute ago, there's now quite a few apartments to choose from. If you haven't played since before February 2022, then you may not have been aware of this. But yes, we are no longer limited to simply these basic apartments
you get
anymore.
multiple apartments.
Or to buy up around Night City at varying price points.
Love the loft, and this arcade thing, it's freaking awesome.
Into the different living standards of Night City. Now, I've ranked all of these from worst to best in detail in their own video, but bear in mind, you do not have to rush into buying these. Sure, you can get a few nice buffs from visiting them and say drinking a coffee, but the lack of fast travel points directly outside the room, like these original apartments, makes them kinda awkward to visit all the time. Also, the fact that we can't transfer our pets to any of the new ones either often proves a deal breaker for many.
Oh, that's
but
right,
they're good for
pets.
hardcore role players
Forgot
and
about
may
that.
have more of a role to play in Phantom Liberty. Who knows? I'm also willing to bet that the DLC will bring at least one new apartment down in Pacifica. We'll see if I'm right about that in the future.
15.
Speaking of Pacifica, right now that region is vastly more underdeveloped than the rest, offering a mere 1 gig, barely exploring the fixer Mr. Hands, and having far fewer scanner hustles than the rest of Night City. Yeah, it's clear this region was a focus later into development once they got into time crunch territory. But the good news is that Phantom Liberty is bringing with it the combat zone, which means a huge expansion for the Pacifica region. What's better news still is that already, when exploring around Pacifica, we can find teasers as to what specifically is going on within that zone. Take, for example, this encounter with the deceased Nina Chilo right by the combat zone buildings. Reading her shard, we can see that one of the people we'll be facing in there is called the General. Now, whether or not he'll be a main boss like Sasquatch and Oda, or just something on the side akin to a Cyber Psycho, remains to be seen. But the point here is, if you want a few more teasers as to what to potentially expect in Phantom Liberty, if you want to meet the likes of the General and think, aha, I've heard of him, then a quick rummage around Pacifica might serve as a good use of your time.
16.
But it may in fact prove that a quick rummage is rarely as simple as it sounds. Now, this is something I've discovered through looking into the game's finer details in my latest series exploring the hidden secrets of different gigs, but in fact, everything is connected. Through a fine mesh of shards and archived conversations across various gigs, scanner hustles and encounters, pretty much every side quest has more to it than first hinted at. It's very easy to miss all of this by simply playing casually through the game and ticking off map markers one by one, but CDPR have really gone to quite the extensive effort to flesh out their world and the stories within it.
Oh yeah, I agree. There's quite a bit of lore when you just do the side quests and read the shards.
Bodies, which I get. I mean, it's a lot easier to litter the world with encounters when most of them are static. Though I do wish these things had a few more living, breathing people who'd maybe come up and talk to us occasionally and provide more information that way. Anyway, all this is to say though, if
building
you
right
want
there
a
is a
deeper
pain in the ass.
understanding of the various
On hard
goings-on of
mode.
Night City, then honestly, reading shards and connecting the dots is actually pretty rewarding, and no doubt there'll be even more clues relating to various unsolved mysteries with the arrival of Phantom Liberty.
17.
And speaking of mysteries, here's one which has remained unsolved since the game's release, and even has a reasonably sized subreddit dedicated to it. FF06B5 involves these strange statues spread around Night City. The community have got rounded circles trying to interpret the meaning of these, but honestly, there's just too many interpretations as to what may or may not be relevant here for anyone to solve the case definitively. For example, FF06B5 corresponds to the color code for magenta, a point which may or may not be relevant. There's this circuit board icon type thing, which could or couldn't mean something, and there's even now a reference to it in The Witcher 3, which may or may not provide extra clues as to the meaning. Now, it's crazy that COD Zombies Easter eggs can be fully solved within a day, but even after 2.5 years, we're still scratching our heads at this one. Anyway, just something I think it's worth being fully aware of before Phantom Liberty, so that if something comes up which looks like an actually tangible explanation for whatever this mystery is at this point, then you'll at least know what you're looking at. Maybe.
Awesome. 18.
Now, I mentioned this back in my Worst Decisions video, and it turns out a lot of people weren't aware that you can actually save Takemura during Search and Destroy by making your way back up the building to him. I'm bringing this up again here because whilst I don't expect him to feature heavily in Phantom Liberty by any means, there's still the potential for OG characters to make smaller cameos either during the main story or in added side quests. Now, I'm guessing that Phantom Liberty will be available to start after Takemura can die, but before the point of no return, since that's the ultimate place you can really progress to and stay at indefinitely. With that in mind, it might be worth making sure to save him, just on the off chance that there are any more bonus interactions with the guy. That said, if you save Takemura and then complete any endings aside from the Arasaka one, he will leave you a hateful voicemail.
Rot in hell. Kusama.
Yeah, this guy's one of those friends who stays a friend only provided we're working towards the same interests. His loyalty is honourable, sure, but when it comes down to it, Takemura is really Saburo's lapdog.
Saburo's simp.
One
19.
exciting new feature coming to Cyberpunk 2077, which we've known about for quite a while, is a fully realised vehicle combat system similar to the likes of GTA. Now, of course, that provides a whole new dimension to driving in the game, meaning fastest and best handling car is no longer all there is to consider. Gone are the days when the Caliburn and Shion Coyote were all you needed. It's now time for muscle car season. You'll want to pick up one of the beefier cars in the game before you go head to head in shootouts, no doubt. And two of the best you can acquire technically for free are Claire's Beast by completing her races and siding with her at the end, or alternatively the Mackinac Saguaro by completing all of Dakota's gigs in the Badlands. Both are pretty identical, bar for some cosmetic differences, and have a ton of armour and power. This of course is
That's a
that
nice
vehicle
truck.
toughness actually becomes a mechanic alongside vehicle
A
combat,
cyberpunk
and
truck.
hopefully one of these don't actually just burst into flames as easily as a may say. Equally, if you've got the 99k eddies to burn, you may instead want to buy up the Quadra Javelina, an absolute powerhouse.
Oh yeah, I
of a
think I
Badlands
got that
car
on one of
and
my
the ultimate
characters.
combination of speed and power. So what are you waiting for? Go buy an armoured vehicle. Go on, go!
I agree. 20.
This one's for Keanu fans, since obviously Johnny Silverhand is coming back, what with
Yeah.
this being said before the end of the game. Here's how to acquire all Johnny's things and experience the ultimate level of Johnnyism, both inside and outside your head. Now, there's of course the obvious ones, Johnny's tank top, aviator's jacket and Malorian gun, all of which are acquired automatically throughout the main story or chip in Quest. Then, there's of course the Porsche 911, which can be missed,
Oh, yeah.
but you don't
Love that
actually
car.
need to spec race
The only
it
time in
or
my life I'll
events.
ever
Just
drive a
tap onto
Porsche.
this button afterwards, and we can lower the shipping container whether Grayson is alive or not. Then the final two pieces are available from gigs. Unsurprisingly, the Samurai Psycho fan Gaston Slayton managed to get his hands on Johnny's trousers, of all things. This is a Higgle gig.
Pantalones.
Then Johnny's boots wound up in the hands of Nancy Hartley's son, and we can pick these up during Rogue's Westbrook gig Family Heirloom. Acquiring all of these won't only make you the most Johnny you can be for the DLC, but will also earn you the breathtaking achievements.
No, you're breathtaking.
One of the most compelling parts of this game, in my opinion, are the four main romances available to pursue. Panam Palmer and Carrie Uridine are available to male Vs, whilst Judy Alvarez and River Ward are available for female Vs. Now, whilst all of these are fairly straightforward to romance, provided you do everything your prospective partner says and always side with them, it is entirely possible to screw
Love
all
Judy.
of these up in one way or another. Panam
I don't
can be
care if she's
working hard to
lesbian.
sword during
I
With a
love
Little Help
Judy.
from My friends. Judy can turn against you if you side with Maiko over her during Pisces, though so long as you don't accept Maiko's eddies, this one isn't actually a problem. As for River, you have to straight up be a total dick to fail this one. Abandon him at Edgewood Farm, or just straight up refuse to help him find his kidnapped nephew at any point, and he obviously won't be romanceable anymore. Finally, Carries can be failed provided you're generally unsupportive, or just don't pick the obviously romantic options. So, provided you want to romance any of these four, don't do these things. Or maybe you actually really don't like them for whatever reason, in which case, that's how to make them hate you forever.
22.
Because of the well-known Triss and Yen threesome situation in The Witcher 3, a lot of people assumed that picking one exclusive romance partner in 2077 was the only way to obtain a good outcome. But actually, that isn't the case. Now, granted, you can still only romance two characters per playthrough in accordance with your body type, but it's entirely possible to be two-timing with Judy and River or Panam and Carrie, as well as either gender having a fling with Meredith on the side at any given point. The only time you'll
Meredith
be
is
forced to
the
choose
best
just
fling.
one romantic partner, in fact, is for the epilogue of the game, and this will be determined by who you choose to call whilst up on the rooftop. River and Carrie will stay with V during the sun ending, but end the relationship in the star, whilst for Panam and Judy, the opposite is true. So, depending on your body type, you'll want to make sure to complete Queen of the Highway and Carrie's questline, or Pyramid Song and Rivers, to unlock both romantic partners to choose from for the ending. Here's to hoping that doing this will also unlock further interactions with them in Phantom Liberty.
23.
Speaking of endings, here's a very simple guide to get the secret and very arguably best one, Don't Fear the Reaper. During the end of the
Don't
chip-in
fear
quest,
the
we'll drive out to
Reaper.
the oil fields to uncover where Johnny Silverhand is allegedly buried. During this scene, Johnny will comment on the bizarre relationship the two of you have, to which you'll want to say this.
No, Johnny, you fucked that up too. You used me. Lied to me. Can't trust you at all.
Is it too late to ask for a second chance?
After that, give him the second chance he's asked for, and that's literally it. Don't Fear the Reaper will now become available
Don't fear
when on
the
rooftop,
Reaper.
but only provided you wait 5 minutes without fully committing to any of the other options. Be careful with this one though, because dying during the mission will return you to the menu screen, not the previous save, and you'll have to go from the point of no return again. So make sure to quickly reload a save manually if you die before you hit the game over screen. Oh, and don't worry about missing out on other endings by picking this one, because
24.
you can play through each ending in one playthrough. I mean, potentially, provided you don't
Yes.
lock yourself out of any along the way. That's why picking the right dialogue option for Don't Fear the Reaper is important.
Don't
you can then
fear the
progress
Reaper.
as much as you want and pick that ending up at any point along the way. Now, of course, once completing the game, you'll revert back to the point of no return. But it won't be entirely as though you never played that ending. You see, each ending in question will provide you with some unique bonus items like weapons, cyberware, and access tokens. So, harrowing as finishing the game can be the first time around, it is eventually worth going back within the same playthrough and playing the other options. On top of a completely different and unique 2 hours of gameplay, you just get a different angle on certain events of the story, and hopefully having the full breadth of knowledge about what's going on, which you only get through completing all the endings, will provide a better understanding of things when heading into Phantom Liberty.
25.
And there's actually some post-ending content which can only be unlocked in Night City once you've completed at least one ending. During the chip-in quest, where we infiltrate Adam Smash's boat, the Ebonike, this room up here will be fully locked. But after completing the game, we'll receive an access token.
Oh, that's
for it.
right. I
Returning
keep
to
forgetting
the
about that
Ebonike
access
and
card.
Finally entering the room, you'll have your pick of a generous assortment of weapons. Though, most notably, in this chest here, is the crafting spec for the smart shotgun, Bazing Chong. Provided you've leveled that crafting skill enough by this point, you can then craft one of the absolute best shotguns in the game, ensuring that the full spread of projectiles flies entirely into the targets. Granted, it's not something for every build, but regardless of how you've chosen to play, the Ebonike is totally worth a revisit once you've beaten the game. Maybe Phantom Liberty will provide even more exclusive unlockables to those who've completed the endings. Or then again, who's to say it won't provide new endings entirely? I'm not getting my hopes up on that, but I guess we'll just have to see when Phantom Liberty arrives on August 20th? Now, if any of the points I've made in this video piqued your interest and you'd like to learn more, then I have dedicated and detailed videos covering a lot of the stuff I talked about here today also on my channel. So go have a browse if you haven't already. As always, massive shout out to my patrons for your incredible support of the channel. As thanks, you guys receive early access to my content, your name at the start of each video, as well as exclusive perks like Discord ranks to come once I manage to set that up. I hope this video helped in prepping you for Phantom Liberty, and I'll have a lot more content covering that, both in the build-up to, and of course after, its release. Thanks so much for watching, I'm Sam Brown, and I'll see you soon in another video.
Oh, good video. Really good video. I think I should probably subscribe to him, because he has a lot of cool videos that he just previewed. Alright, he just gained a subscriber. Well, what do you think about Cyberpunk overall? Did you like some of the updates that came out? Well, the patch updates since like February of 2022. How many characters have you played? I played up to like 3 characters, all Corpro. I last played on a on the very hard level, and I made my build where it was like, it's almost like if I was playing Splinter Cell, just doing it stealth-wise, but also having some versatility in combat with assault rifles in case things got hot and I had to fight back when I broke stealth. And then some tech stuff and crafting, where I could just craft my own weapons to legendary if I had the schematics, of course, for it. Maybe I should start a 4th character. I'll think about it. I still haven't really played Nomad or what's the other one? Nomad and Street Kid. So maybe I'll give those a shot. Maybe I'll just play it on normal, not very hard. Well, post your comments down below. Let me know what you think about Cyberpunk and the upcoming Phantom Liberty. Until next time, same Handsome King content, same Nerdy Bear reactions. Oh yeah!
Corporals opened fire. Civilians were killed.
Yeah, that was kinda my fault.
Don't ask me how, but the second I heard, I knew you were involved.
Just wanted to talk to Hanako. Things went a little sideways from there.
Dealing with corpse? What did you expect?